do this.
Welcome back, family. Team Bohana here. I'm your host, Rich, and we're going to be looking at this week's cover price top 20 hot list books in demand, whatever you want to call it. They got the top 10 and the runners up. We're going to put them all together, look at all 20, tell you which one I think is the best pick, and which one is the worst pick, which is going to be at the end, which will be my gun to the head and rubber band to the butt picks. Okay, so and just so you know, I got CovrPrice actually reached out and sent me a message earlier that their dollar figures that show on the actual hot list are not quite correct, but I always go to the actual sales, so we should be good. Also, I want to point out to everybody, if you don't agree that a book should be selling at a certain price or it should be on the hot list, don't be mad at CovrPrice. Again, all they're doing is compiling all the sales data and reporting it to us. So if you want to, basically, if you think that a book is selling too high or it's too hot for no reason, we only have ourselves to blame, as I'm the comic book market, not you and me personally, but you know what I'm saying. All right, so checking in, we've got 25 Perez is already here, and Tiago just dropped in. Hey, let's go. Absolutely. And without further ado, let's get into I wouldn't go that far, but and there are certain times where like the fan blows and it hits it and it feels like there's a bug on my face. I'm like, still not used to that. But thank you for the vote of confidence. We're going to jump right into this and check out number 20 on the list. We've got X-Men number 1, Cover D, Magneto Direct. This is the first appearance of X-Men Blue Team. And the only reason I can think of this is because in one of the episodes, the finale, and I'm not going to get into any spoiler in case anybody hasn't watched it yet, but they do make reference to the Blue Team and the Gold Team. And it's the first time I've actually heard them refer to it outside of the comic book, whether it's animated or anything else. So I guess just the mention of that has knocked this up onto the list. And the Blue Team, of course, has Cyclops, Beast, Wolverine, Rogue, Psylocke, and Gambit. Well, if you've watched the X-Men 97, you know there are a couple of names there that are not quite right. But we'll leave that one alone. So what we got for sales here? Sales are nothing phenomenal. It's just, $12 for near mint, 15 for near mint plus, 9.8 selling for 85. It's a very, very highly graded book. There are 9.9s out there. At least one anyway. Look, it's not a bad book to have as long as you're getting it for around the $10, $12 range. Don't go more than that. If you don't feel like spending $12, wait a little bit. It'll come down. 85, that'll probably come down to about 70 or so. There's a lot of raws out there of this book that people did not feel were worthwhile to send in to get graded because 9.8s were selling for more like 60. Well, now people thinking I can get 80 for it. I'll put it in for a few in for a pre-screen and make a little bit of money. By the time they get them back, the market's going to be flooded. These are going to be down in price. So just hold off on it. That besides that fact, though, it is a really cool cover. And I think it's a wraparound. Not sure. Anyway, moving on to number 19, we have Doom number 1, the Maria Wolf 1 in 25. Now, I love Maria Wolf's art, but I'm not feeling this cover. I'm just not. That being said, though, the popularity of the Doom book is really starting to trickle into the other issues, meaning the cover B and the 1 in 25. Last week, if I remember correctly, this was on the list, but selling for about $30 to $35. Now we're hitting 60 to 70. So we are now approaching that triple ratio, which if you follow JP's Budget Collecting, he said that's your gold standard mark. I don't know. It's a second week peak though. And a lot of times they come back down to the first week. If this continues to go up, it'll sustain. But the fact that it's not even in the top 10, this is coming in at number 19. I think this may drop off the list, and I think it's already had its peak, and it may come down a little bit. Just because something is 1 in 25 does not necessarily mean that it will have the same value as the cover A. Also, again, I like Mary Wolf stuff. I'm not a fan of this particular cover. So I'd hold off on getting it. Even if you go though, if you hold off and it shoots up through the moon, okay, so you missed this particular issue. There's 10 billion other comics we could have fun with. Number 18, we have, oh, sorry, I was looking at the values. X-Men 24, the direct edition of which one of the best covers for Rogan Gambit. If you're a Rogan Gambit fan, this is already in your collection. Um, we've got the last recorded sales of a very good at $7. Hmm. 18 to 30 for near mints, depending on if you want near mint or near mint plus. And 9/8 is still well, the last 9/8 sale was at on 428 for 240. There are no real recent graded sales. I got a 9/2 that sold for 75. So it's kind of hard to extrapolate what a 9/8 would sell for. Um, the highest it ever was in 2021 for 285. So that was during the boom. So I don't think this should be going for more than 200. I really don't. I think there's just too many of these books out. This came out in 93. There's a lot of printing going on. There is a foil and a newsstand version of this. Now, I could see paying top dollar, $30 for a near mint plus raw if you had the opportunity to meet the actors at a show that did the voice of these characters, because that would be a great book to get signed. What color you'd use, I don't know, that would really work. You'd have to get something that would contrast with Gambit's coat and have them sign on the coat. And I don't know, maybe blue down by her legs for Rogue. Not sure what, but that would be a great book to have signed by the two voice actors. And now you don't have to have CGC witness it. You can send it in. Number 17 on the list, we have Criminal number 1 from 2006. And this book is, it's up a little bit, but it was already a decent price because we've known for a little while that Amazon Prime is developing a series on this. And they just cast the main actor, the person that's going to play Brubaker. And they do pretty decently with their shows, but I don't know when they're going to be releasing this. It's not going to be 2024 if they're just doing casting now. Probably mid to late 2025, in my opinion. Now, this story did win an Eisner, so it's supposed to be a very, very good story. Think Sandman book. Think The Last of Us. As we got close, the book shot up in price. It settled down, and it's waiting for season 2. I mean, Sandman number 1s in 9.6 are half of what they were when the series was out. 9/8 have still held some decent value. 9/8 of this, though, is 215, and 9.6 is 52. Both of those are from April. So we already knew that the show was happening. They just got casting news now. And 8.5 just sold for 80. So 8.5 sold for 80. I think that kind of blows out the 9.6 or 52. Near Mint Raws just sold for 21. So I'm thinking 9.6 is probably going to run you about 140 right now, 150. And that 9.8 is probably going to run you about 250 because it's hot in the news. 6 months, it won't be in the news. You'll still be able to get it before a trailer hits. Just hang out and wait for it. 2019, 18, 17, 16. We have an Easter egg. Secret Wars number 5. The Alex Ross regular from 2015. And the only claim to fame for this book is it was laying on the floor as an Easter egg in the first Deadpool Wolverine trailer. Big whoop. Oh, man. Okay. I'm going to go to full screen for a second. I'm going to mention a different Easter egg, which is actually already popular-ish, shown prominently, and then so it's spiked up, and then it immediately has come right back down to earth, and nobody wants it. Throg, Thor Frog, that was in Loki. So did anybody care? They went crazy for it at the time, plummeted. This isn't even taking being part of the story. See, I remember to put it back. This is actually just a comic book laying on the floor. Okay. Now, what are we selling? What are we buying these things for? $35 for a raw. Okay. Yeah. Last sale of a near mint plus raw was May 18th, 35 bucks. 6.2 yesterday. A 9.8 sold for $52. What does that tell you? 52 bucks for a 9.8 slabbed book. Okay. It's already gone, the value. Good evening, Robert. How are you today? And yeah, I saw that right before while I was getting ready for the show, I saw your link about the woman whose late husband's comic collection is has been stolen in the Vegas area. That is horrible. Hopefully, they have some kind of pictures where um, they have serial numbers and we can put some kind of watch out for it. But in today's day and age, I'll probably just crack them open and resend them in if they're worth anything. If they've been collecting for generations, you know you got to have golden age in there, and that's really horrible. I have to say those boxes on the back are driving my curiosity. I'll talk about it later. That's what I'm doing right after this show. I'm doing my what's in the box mail call. So anyway, this book is if you find it for $2, that's what it's gonna be worth. If you find it for three, ask for a discount. Uh Number 15, we have Wolverine number one, the limited series. This is a direct edition from 1982. Frank Miller, art at its finest. First cameo of Yukio. Um, 9.9 sold at one point for 23.5. Then it sold for 14. Ouch. Oh, that's a 10. Wow. Somebody paid 23.5 for a 9.9, and now there's a 10 out there. Ouch. 9.8 selling for $630, up a little bit because we're getting closer to the movie. And Near Mint Plus Raw is going for $350. Uh there is a newsstand of this book, but there are more newsstands than direct sales. But people took more care of the direct sales because they went to a store specifically for comics. So your chances of having a high grade direct sale is more likely. Still, I'm still leery about this market, and I know that this book is going to come down a bit after the movie leaves. Even if they have some new version of a different Wolverine, it's not going to spike it any higher than it already is going for. So, um, he has a YouTube channel. Take it you're talking about the. I'm not sure the person that lost the books. Cool, glad you got it. Um, Look, I don't have a 9.8 of this. I may be shopping one a month and a half after the movie leaves the theater. I think this book will come down a little bit just because the market itself. And I might want to try to upgrade my 9.4 to a 9.8. Next on the list, we have a perennial favorite on this list, Spawn number one, Todd McFarlane from 1992. This is a book that was extremely high printed. I believe it set the record for the most printed book at its time. Um, we have the most recent sale of 9.8 is actually at 140. Now, this was hovering around the 125, 130 mark. I don't think this is actually an increase. Oh, okay, okay. Um, and they're not dead guys; they're living impaired. uh, I gotta see if I can find the channel, and I wonder if they have any kind of a GoFundMe or anything where we could make donations to the family. That'd be nice. Uh, I don't think that this is a book that's gone up in price. I think the 140 is just a side effect of inflation. everything's gone up like 11, 12% in inflation. It stands to reason that your comic books that have a set value are slowly going to go up also. The small books were everywhere. Yeah, they still are. um, but I mean, I got myself a 9.8. I got myself a 9.8 when I got one at 120 last year. So and now it's 140, and I think that's more of inflation than anything else. I would rather spend 140, by the way, on a 9.8 slabbed than spending 50 on a near mint plus raw. Um, you may also get lucky and get yourself a custom label. That would be nice too. So, one of the Tom McFarlane labels. Keep an eye out for that. Some people are willing to pay a little bit of a premium for it. It does look good. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13th on the list. New Mutants. I can't. Facsimile variant. The not copy. So it's so reliable. Yes, the Spawn book, absolutely. And hello, Hector. How you doing? Uh, I still can't wrap my brain around how they thought it was okay to make a variant of a facsimile. I'm gonna make a copy. That's not a copy. So, and I'm not that crazy about the. I mean, it's okay, but it's not the greatest. Inyuk Lee's, he's done much better things in this. He might have even just thought that I'm making. He might have even been like, I'm making a variant of a facsimile, whatever. Um. All right, so sales of this going for 55.49. This just came out 2 weeks ago. I think that stores will have stocked up on the facsimile for the first appearance of Deadpool, knowing that the Deadpool movie is coming out. And as a result, I would not be surprised if your average store has 3 or 4 of these. So I expect this book to drop. I think the only reason it's gone up at all it is because it did appear on the hot list, and it's kind of like a self-perpetuating prophecy at this point, which will die down. Um, I don't see this being more than $15 in a year. So I would not spend 50 on it. That's for sure. Uh Number 12. We're almost at the halfway point. Grommets, number 1. This is the 1 in 20, Jonathan Wayshak. And looking at this, it kind of reminds me of Galaga, but not quite. Because I don't think Galaga fired at angles. I mean, it looks like Galaga slash Galaxian, but a little bit of pleads. Um, Definitely, Atari type of game. The size of the quarter is a little bit oversized there. It looks more like a dollar coin. Um, but it's a cool cover. I do like it. I have not yet had a chance to read Grommets number 1. I got myself the regular cover A, and the cover A is actually one of the 4 choices in this week's New Comic Book Day. So if you haven't had a chance to register for that, go to last week's New Comic Book Day video. Make sure you subscribe, like, and drop a comment to get yourself in the running to win those. There's also a Helverine in there, and um, DC Penguin, and the why did I just reach and pick it up? The Midnight Suns Blood Hunt, 1 of 3. So got some good choices there this week. 2 of them are kind of reflected on the hot list, so that's a good thing. Again, last week's New Comic Book Day video. Subscribe, like, drop a comment, and make sure you watch this Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard when we pick a winner. All right, so getting into grommets, so again, it's another ratio variant. It's going for 28, 30, 25. I think 25 to 30 is what it's going for. For a 1 in 10, oh, sorry, 1 in 20. 1 in 20. It's 1.5 times ratio. It may go up a little bit higher. This one's kind of flying under the radar. Not so many people know about it. If it turns out to be a great story, it has a chance. If it doesn't, then no. Ah, we tanked. Hey, welcome to the show. If only there were a way to short sell comics. Oof. Oof. Honestly, I'm glad there isn't because I think our market would be even worse than it is now. Oh, speaking of books that have tanked, oh boy. Coming in at number 11, the number one of the runners up. This is scary, guys. This is sad. The Blood Hunt, number one. The crime suspense stories, number 22, homage 1 and 25. The one with Thor's severed head. The one that's selling so super, super hot. And I had to check prices right before the show. Highest known value, and I believe this is a raw. No, see, pre-sale of 9.8, 600. Okay, now the last sale 375. We've got. Remember when these were going for close to $300 a piece on for the raws? Now the most recent sale 150. And actually, I saw one on eBay right now. If you want, there's a guy on eBay that has the cover A of the red bands, the 1 in 25, this book right here, together, 149.95 with free shipping. Buy it now. And it's still sitting there. I looked at some of the other sales from recent sales, 132, 135, still in the poly bag. So this book has dropped tremendously. And it's scary that I almost bought the hype too because I thought this is such a great, great cover. And honestly, as fast as this thing is dropping, I think people are going to panic and this book is going to drop even faster. I think that next week we may see this book under 100, at which point I may pull the trigger myself. The one thing I didn't know about when I was trying to figure it out was the 1 in 25. Did stores have to buy 25 red bands to qualify for the 1 in 25 red band, or any of the blood hunts would count towards their total? That being said, I would just stay away from this book, man. It's dropping a little bit too fast. So that wraps up the honorable mentions. And before we jump into the top 10, I want to take this moment to say thank you to all our Patreon slash YouTube members that help keep the channel going. Help with the cost, offsetting the cost of purchasing the books that we give away, the shipping that we send them to you, and it's a little screen, 20 seconds. Just let me catch my breath and say thank you to every single one of them with names updated. All right. Thank you again. By the way, and the reason I said names updated is because when people subscribe to the channel, whether it's through Patreon slash Team Ohana or right here, our YouTube members, uh, I take the name that I see and put it on that screen. If you want to have a different name represent you, just reach out to me, let me know, and I will gladly update. That's not a problem. I mean, if you watch like Rob's Fat Stacks, I'm one of the members over there. It doesn't say my name; it says Team Ohana. I guarantee, if you look at my birth certificate, Team Ohana is not my actual name. Probably be cooler than the name I have, though. Ugh. All right, so let's jump into the top 10. Coming in number 10 on the list, we have Gromit's again, issue number 1, the 1 in 10. Now, I'm just going to say for the record that the actual cover A is not on the list. Does not mean we're not going to see it next week because I checked the prices on that. It is up a little bit, selling for about $7, and the cover price on it was $3.99. So it's already up 75%, which is nice. All right, so we have the 1 in 10 selling for roughly $12. Is that what we're seeing here? Somebody sold one for 2. I think that's probably a bad listing. So, if somebody puts up the listing and incorrectly, the data gets captured. There's no way the CovrPrice can edit and proof check every single comic sale that's done on the market these days. But let's just say for the sake, you're looking at 12 to $15 for a 1 in 10. It's a really cool cover. You got a 7 Heaven instead of 7-Eleven. And being from the North, I can tell you that is what 7-Eleven looks like. Yes. It's definitely a rural one because one in a busy urban area would not have that small little brick wall where cars would crash into. But you also see it's older cars based on the video game that's in the other cover. This is something that's set in the 80s. So again, I don't know what the storyline is even about, but apparently we have enough buzz about it that we've got two of the books on the hot list. So I'm gonna have to break down and actually read that book. 1 in 10 selling for 12. That's not terrible. It's right about ratio. It doesn't have far to drop if it fails. I like the cover. This might be worthwhile to try to get if you can find one for around the $10 to $12 range. If somebody's asking more than that, I might want to hold off on that. I say there's a 1 in 25 also that's not on the list. So you got a 1 in 10, a 1 in 20, and a 1 in 25. The 1 in 25, interesting blocks and a doll or something like that in the bottom of a skateboard. That's really good artwork of a skateboard and the steering mechanism. I don't know if I like that or not. I'm gonna have to check it into it more. But the 1 in 10, 1 in 20, 1 in 25 prices haven't shot tremendously up on those. If you can find them for about those prices, they might be worthwhile. And if I'm wrong, it's not like you're spending $100 $200 on it. Coming in number 8. Okay. Blood Hunt, Red Band Edition, 1 in 25. Crime Suspense Stories, number 16. Homage, number 2. And this one is selling for approximately 175, 161. Okay, this is going to have a tremendous no, the only reason this book was even hot at all is because of the FOMO that was generated from issue number 1. Issue number 1 was a great cover. This one's not even that great a cover. It's not. It compared to the issue number 1, this is not as good. Now, the thing is that people were so worried, like, oh, this is gonna. I know it's not gonna hit $300, but maybe it'll hit 200. At this point, the stores were already ordering a ton of these things just to make sure they had them because they knew people were going to have FOMO and buy these. If issue number 1, which is the harder to find, the lower print by far, is now going for it into 130s, this book is going to be going into 30s. I'm telling you right now, this is my rubber band to the butt pick. Okay, I'm not even going to play games on this. This is my rubber band to the butt. Do not go and spend $180 on this book. This is going to drop. There's too many political analogies I can use, and I don't want to take off anybody. I personally like the other incentive covers on the graphic books better than the one on the list. There's 2 on the list. There's make sure that because I think you're a little bit late here. Where was the other one? Yeah, this one was on the list at number 12, the 1 in 20, which is kind of a video game. And then we had the one here at number 9, 10, 10. So I kind of like the video game one the best, personally. I played those video games when they were out. You know, I'm that old. So for me, it's that one, the 1 in 20. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The video game one. That's the one I like the best as well. I remember spending hours and hours. Oh my God. Anyway, so the blood hunts, just don't do it. Save yourself. All right, so that's number 9. Let's move to number 8. We have the new X-Men 133 direct edition, first appearance of Dust, Soraya Kadir. I think I pronounced that correctly. Now, last week this was on the list. I don't know who Dust is. I remember afterwards looking it up and going, "Oh, that's why?" Okay. And it was so forgettable to me that I forgot it. How about that? Now, I understand the character is cool, but um, I don't know if we're getting her in the Deadpool movie or if we're gonna get them in X-Men. I think actually we might have already gotten this character in a cameo in X-Men '97. I cannot remember. Anyway, Near Mint's selling in May 31st is the most recent. We've got $20. Very fine for 15. 9.8, nothing really recent. Got a 9.6 it sold for 46 on the 31st. That's just a couple days ago. If a 9.6 sold for 46 bucks, that puts a 9.8 at 130. So 280 is out of the question for me. I imagine a 9.8 would be a little tougher because of all that black. It's very susceptible to color rub. And yeah, exactly. I have to know what the back cover looks like. That's the whole thing. If the back cover is also black, then it's not quite as bad. What you worry about is how um the books rub in in the box as they're being shipped. So I looked at sales of these things. I can't believe somebody paid $810 for this in 2022. This is a book from 2002, so it's what the time frame when it was really highly printed and quality was not their number one thing. I'm sorry, I couldn't go spend $280 on a character. I don't even know who she is. So I wasn't reading comics at that time. To me, it's just not worth it. And whatever it was that was the hype of it will die down, and this book will come back down in price. All right, so that was 10987. All Select Comics 70th Anniversary Special. Where's Larry when you need him? Okay, so this one is the uh, tribute, a newer version book that had the Blonde Phantom. Timely Collect Comics, which I think that Timely Comics went on to become Marvel. So this is one of the old time Marvel characters. Um, and this originally spiked up on this list because people were trying to find copies of Black Phantom books that were affordable because somebody started a rumor that Taylor Swift was talking to Kevin Feige and this is who she was going to play. Um, uh, nope. Breaking news, in case you haven't heard it. Sydney Sweeney is now the frontrunner to play the Blonde Phantom, replacing the rumored appearance by Taylor Swift. So we may still get the Blonde Phantom, but don't count on it being Taylor Swift. You're buying this for Taylor Swift hype, wrong. You're buying this because you think the Blonde Phantom could be something, and you're looking for an affordable book without going back and buying a 1938 book for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I get it. But just because it's in the news at the moment does not mean that it's going to be worthwhile in the long run. It's a cool cover. This is from 2009, 70th anniversary special. So, what are we looking at for prices? 10 for a very fine, near mint selling for 30. Let the hype drop back down again. You'll find a nice one for 20. Also, there'll be people that are sending these off. You'll find 9.8s that'll come out about 130 bucks and then work their way down to about 80. Then you crack one open and you get Sydney Sweeney to sign it. And then the trailer will hit. It'll be at its high watermark, and then you sell it. It's becoming a bad science. Heard Sydney Sweeney's play Barbarella in a reboot. Well, that's possible, but Barbarella is not part of the Marvel Universe. She could be playing both. I think I'd see that one though. By the way, Barbarella. I like the original. 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6 on the list. We have the Helverine number 1 John Cassara spoiler version. And I'm so glad that I like buying books that say spoiler. So I got mine pre-ordered. I was happy. I wish I'd gotten the second one of these so I could have made it onto the giveaway, but I got the cover A as the second one. So first appearance of Dakin as Helverine. First appearance of the Hellfire Warriors. And let's see, we've got sales 10 to 17, I guess, up to 20. Hmm, it's a book that a lot of people are going to be ordered. On the previews guide, on the final order cutoff, it said spoiler variant. That means everybody ordered a copy of these things. It's not going to hold value. It's cool, but I don't think it's going to hold value. I think it's just too many of them. If you liked it, you ordered it. So stores also probably ordered a ton of these. There is, I think, what might be one of the better ones is the Scotty Young. And again, I'm not a Scotty Young fan, but there's a few different covers. I like the Scotty Young the best. Never thought I'd say that. Eesh. If you can find it for $10, okay. Don't spend 30. What was cover price on this thing anyway? 5. So if you're spending 10, you're already double the price. Hey, Angry, how's it going? Speaking of Sydney Sweeney, Madam Web was so bad. How bad was it? That I left my 2 movie tickets on my dashboard while I ran into my LCS and someone broke out my window and left me 2 more tickets. Oh, that's good. All right. Now, I'm going to say this. I recently, at the request of the manager of Visions Comics, was asked to watch Madam Web. Okay. So going into it, I was thinking everybody says this is a dumpster fire. Okay. I'll give it a fair shake. It wasn't the dumpster fire that I thought it was going to be, but it definitely played like a made for TV movie with bad editing, bad voiceovers, bad storyline. Um, too many things that I was like, wait. So these 3 girls, they were just reported as kidnapped like 2 hours ago, and already there's a guy in the diner reading a newspaper where they're on the front page. How's that possible? So there's too many things in it that I'm like that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. So it was like a bad made for TV movie is what it was. It wasn't Battlefield Earth. It wasn't Craven. Oh, sorry, not Craven. Morbius. That was a dumpster fire. I picked up a copy of Wolverine 1 cover A yesterday at my LCS and put it in the back on the shelf because I didn't care about it. Oh, okay. Well, the cover A is not on the list. It is the Joshua Cassara spoiler version. And I think the Wolverine itself is just overly printed. You know, bottom line, if it's not a good story, it's not going to go anywhere. Moving to number 5, we have the Adi Granov Doom #1. This is the officially like the cover B of the book, and I wish that was the cover A because that artwork is just killer. And I think Virgin variant of this is the 1 in 100. So, or is it 1 in 25? There is a version. It is a 1 in 100, selling for over 100. Okay, and I love this book. I think this is probably the best artwork of all the choices. Let's see, we got sales now anywhere between 18 and 25 for a raw, 9.8 is pre-selling for 90. This I think this is the better artwork, but I think also that when people were ordering the book, the cover A was sub quality in artwork compared to this. So I think if anybody were to order 1 copy, looking at the artwork, they would have bought this instead of the cover A. As a result, I think the cover A is shooting up in price because a little bit of scarcity. And since cover A is shooting up, it's taking cover B along with it. In the long run, I think this will come down a little. I think the cover A may hold about where it is and then come down over a longer period of time. But I didn't read it yet. I heard some people saying it's great, some people saying it's boring. I usually like to wait till I get a few issues and then sit down and read. I don't know. If I try to read one issue of 20 different comics next month, I can't remember what I read. So I'd rather get like 5, 6 issues and binge read those. I don't know if this is going to go up or down. I really don't. I didn't get one. Honestly, just based on the artwork, I wish I had. That's just beautiful. Number 4, Masters of the Universe, number 1, direct sales, 1982. What the heck is this on the list? Do we have more news about them coming out with something? This is not the Masters He-Man's first appearance in comics. That's DC Comics Presents. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that number 47? It's got these. Hey, Meatwad, how's it going? Um, I I think it's number 47, where it's Superman versus the Masters of the Universe. Skeletor is like controlling Superman on the cover with so again, I don't know what's driving this up on the list. 1982, we have near mint copies selling in here's a recent sale. $27 for a near mint 9094. 98's pretty recent, 225, 96, 180. Um hmm, for a 1982 book that's the majority of people reading them were going to be little kids. And probably not taking care of them. I'm surprised that's not higher. It's not a first appearance. That's the whole thing. So this might not be a bad book to invest in for a long term. Always great seeing DC books getting interest. Absolutely. I just wish there were books other than He-Man. But we're talking about a book that is 42 years old. Um, Key book of the Copper Age, and 9.8 for 225. That's not bad. Hmm. I had pre-selected my gun to the head pick. I may have to reconsider with this one. I'm going to be thinking about this. I kind of like it. All right, coming in number 3. This is an interesting one. We have Sonic the Hedgehog, issue number 69. The Natalie Fordrain retailer incentive, 1 in 10. It's a cool cover. I like it. I don't know why issue number 69 is up on this. What made it specific. One thing I do know is Big Time Collectibles also has a. I was trying to avoid that one, but okay. Big Time Collectibles has a 2024 Fan Expo Dallas limited to 500, and this is a really, really good cover. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is the cover, but they have a black and white version that they had also had 500 of, and they sent half of them, 250, to Rob's Fat Sacks of Comics to have at Heroes Con. So it's going to be very limited, and they're going to have artwork and all kinds of things. If you go to Heroes Con and you get a chance to stop by Rob's Fat Sacks of Comics curing cancer, everybody. It's going to have a lot of great stuff there. This a very limited edition of this book will be there as well. Okay. Getting back to the list, though, as far as just the 1 in 10, Natalie Fordrain, I don't know who that is. She draws nicely. I don't know if this is the first appearance of a character. I really don't follow Sonic the Hedgehog. The one thing I do know is anytime I've ever seen any of the Sonic books shoot up in price, as soon as they come out, within a couple of weeks, they're right back down to cover anyway, because it's a very limited market and everybody in that market pre-orders their books. So I wouldn't count on this holding any pertinent value. Coming in number 2, X Factor number 6, the first full appearance of Apocalypse. And it says, yeah, I own one. I think I have an 8.5 Signature Series Claremont. So I just wanted to get a Claremont back then. 9.8 sold in 2021 for $1,000. It is currently going for $410. And I don't understand this one. 9.6 fair market value, $112. One just sold for $80. You know what? I'll take a 9.6 at $80. I'll come up with the Masters of the Universe is the first Masters of the Universe comic published by a major comic company. True, it does predate the Marvel run, but it's not the first Master of the Universe. Well, it's the first solo title for Master of the Universe. It's but it's not their first appearance in the comics. That would be the DC Comics presents Superman versus the Masters of the Universe. Whichever. It's still a 42-year-old comic book that is affordable in a 9.8. So that's worth that right there. But on the first appearance of Apocalypse, we know we're getting Apocalypse in season 2. We might get Apocalypse in live action. We don't know. But 112, 80 for a 9.6. That shows you how the market is done. I would really be hunting for that book. Even if you have somebody find a store that's selling the book, they might have it listed for 150. Remember, fair market value, the information that you can gather here on CovrPrice, it is so worth subscribing. Inventory entire comic book collection. It shows you the value of your collection. You can sort by different ways of looking at it. If one of your books hops on the becomes a hot trending book, it flags it into a separate category for you. It updates it all the time, and you get to use this. This is now a weapon. Yes, you can go in wielding this mighty axe of fair market value. So when you go to the deal and say, I really would like that book that you have there, that 9.6 first appearance of Apocalypse, but you're asking 150 on it, and fair market value is only 112. Matter of fact, the most recent sale was 80. I mean, if you want, I'll give you 95 for it. So it's not right in the middle of it. Gives you something to, I mean, if he says no, he says no. We've got Rob in the house. Yes, Rob, please make sure that I am correct. I'm glad that you have joined us. I am mentioning about you at HeroesCon and having that what's it called? Sonic the Hedgehog number 69. The big time collectibles one. How many copies are you guys going to be carrying all those books there? What kind of artwork? I'm trying to make sure anybody going to HeroesCon comes over there and says hello. Pleasure having you here in the store. Correct. Hey. And my wife says I don't listen. You hear that, honey? I listen. Just not to you. Anyway. Okay. So I would be looking for a 9.6 before I would look for a 9.8. You might even find a copy that you can crack, press, clean, and resubmit. It's only $8 on a pre-screen. Send it in 12 times. You might get lucky once. Coming at number 1, back in the number 1 spots after a 1 week vacation at number 2, we've got Doom number 1. The dealer will say, "Get out of my store." Well, then you leave the store. If that's the way he's going to treat you, you don't need to be there. I mean, his prerogative to say that, and your prerogative not to spend your hard-earned money there. So, anyway, shouldn't talk. Seriously, if he's talking to you like that, you don't need to be there. We got Doom number 1, Sanford Green, cover A, and it has gone up a little bit more in price. It's now selling for 26 to 35. Was selling for I got the 3 copies at 20. So it seems to be just slowly inching its way up. 9.8 is pre-selling for 130. I don't see this holding the 130 for the 9.8s. I think this is going to come down, probably settling around 75 to 80, which is still decent for a new book. And the raw is probably settling down to about $20, which is why I didn't feel bad about spending $20. All the copies sold by Comics and Cans have 100% of the purchase price going to the campaign. And I can attest to that. Yes, I believe in that. I know that. Rob is not here to make money for himself. He is here to kick cancer in the nads. This is the black and white cover. I got all the information right. So, yes. I think this is going to come down a little bit in price, but it's still it's you're not going to lose your shirt if you bought a copy at 25. I just think it's going to wind up settling for around 20. I mean, I've been wrong on a bunch of different things, but hopefully I'm not on that one. All right. So now we've got the top 20 books. Time for me to pick my gun to the head pick. Which book in this list at current prices do I think is the best investment or the least worst investment? If I think that all 20 are going to go down, which one will go down the least? How about that? And if a book has a potential of going up, that will obviously be good. The rubber band to the butt pick I've already picked is the worst choice in my opinion, and I'll just reiterate that is the Blood Hunt number 2, 1 in 25, already selling. It's still selling for more than the number 1, and it's all fueled by FOMO. So this is going to take a nosedive. Now, my original choice for the gun to the head pick, I was actually going to pick the Grommet number 1 in 20. I really like the cover. I think that that's the best choice of the covers, and the price for a 1 in 20 coming in at 16 to 20, about $25. It's not terrible, but after having the conversation, I think I got to go with that Masters of the Universe, man. I think I have to. It's a 42-year-old book and 225. That's not bad. There is a newsstand. There is a Canadian price variance. I don't know how many Canadian price variants there are in DC in comparison to Marvel. What's the newsstand variant going for? And it's asked me to sign in. Oh, great. Okay, I'll take care of that in a few minutes because I think I got a little bit of an issue with my sign up. So I'll look at that in a couple minutes. Newsstands, they were higher printed than the direct sale in 1982. They got even around the 1986 mark. So in 82, figure it was 65 to 70% newsstand, 30 to 35% direct sale. But the direct sale ones were purchased in comic book stores by comic book lovers. So we took care of things a little bit more than your average person who just grabbed a comic book so he could read it on the subway. I just bought 3 copies of Master of the Universe 9.8. Thanks for the heads up. You like this one? You just bought 3 copies of this particular one in a 9.8? I appreciate that. 6 people in the chat, 3 likes. What's up with that? Hit that like button. Thank you, Tiago. Appreciate you. I thought I was the only person CovrPrice booted off the site and made me sign in again. Happens quite frequently. You know what? It happens to me a lot is I check on my phone and I check on my computer. Every time I check on my computer, it kicks me off on the phone and vice versa. And guess what I have in front of me? I got my phone. So I was using it. I see 9 likes. Well, I want to see 18. So anyway, I'll check out the list on that. But that's I think that's going to be my gun to the head pick. I might go for that Masters of the Universe. Let's just say if it was Greg and I were still here, and we had to pick 2 books. Then we'll pick the Grommets 1 in 20 and Master of the Universe. Those are our 2 picks for gun to the head. As far as 2 picks for the Rubber Band to the butt worst choice, we're gonna go with Blood Hunt number 2 and Blood Hunt number 2. Okay, that's, that's now Blood Hunt number 2 and I might go with that New Mutants facsimile of a copy or copy of a facsimile, the non-copy copy, because I just can't stand that. So, all right, so let's bring us back here. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for joining. We're having so much fun here. As always, please don't forget to join us on Wednesday, every single Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. We give away books. We have some fun, show the books that I got, talk about the ones that you got. And if you want to have a chance to win those books, make sure that you go to last week's video. Make sure you subscribe, click like, and drop a comment. Don't care what it says. You can just say hi. I don't care. As long as you keep it clean, keep it comics, you're in the drawing. You put in something that I consider to be detrimental to the comic community, and I will delete it. If you don't make money off my master dealers because you said to buy them, I'm going to be double mad that you led me down the wrong path and you want to know why. Shakes angry. Well, if you're that mad at me and you're trying to hunt me down, then yeah, I'm in Hawaii. Yeah, it's aloha. Get all three Master Universe. First appearance is the DC Comics Presents number 47, right? Because I got that one for Mrs. Ohana as a present. The DC Limited Series and the Marvel Star title. I think I got the Marvel Star. No, I got even better, Rob. One of the first things I got for Mrs. Ohana, I think it was actually the first thing I got, was the Masters of the Universe 1, 2, and 3 in the pack they used to buy for $1.99, still in the pack. That was actually in 2020 before the market went nuts. So I think I paid 15 for that. That was great. I never got a chance to get the DC limited series. That's why I'm looking at it, because that would finish the trifecta for me. Awesome, awesome, guys! Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, especially and click on those notifications so you know when more videos are dropping. Get your butt to Rob's Fat Sacks of Comics and subscribe over there, and be ready for one hell of an auction in October. And donate. Okay, we're the superheroes here. Heroes Con, get in over there and say hi. Has anyone seen a graded mini comic? No, I have not. I mean, maybe we'll just have to pick up a couple and send them in. It's a thought. Guys, thanks for joining. Like, subscribe, notifications. Till I see you in the next video, though. Mahalo.